Hey folks, this is another exciting adventure of Kirkinator Outdoors, and I've gotten to where I like doing these little tutorials, if you will, more or less just sharing information. And believe me, you know, you're never too old to learn about the hunting skills and the outdoors. One of my favorite things to do is listen to the old timers and you know, how they do it and how they did it. Because there's a lot you can learn from that. And you know, all these new tricks of the trade that come out, fancy gadgets and apps and all those things, those are all great, and you can use them, and they pay dividends if you use them properly. But you know, folks have been hunting turkeys for centuries, and you know, a turkey's going to do what a turkey does. So, you know, like I said, the best thing that you can do, and the best advice I can give, is to listen to your old timers who've turkey hunted over the years and learn the what nots and the what's to do. So one of the first things I want to talk about today is you know, turkey habitat and overcalling. Two separate things. One is, keep in mind that when if you're a deer hunter and you see turkeys, especially a bunch of long beards during deer season, chances are you're not going to see the same birds in the spring that you are seeing in the fall. They are acting completely different than what they will be whenever it comes to breeding time for that old long beard. You know, just like a white-tailed deer, a white-tailed buck, you know, he's going to, you know, herd up with other bucks and run with bachelor groups and things like that. And then whenever the rut kicks off and all that testosterone starts flowing, they're going to bust up. It's not too much different for a long beard. So you need to understand where the feeding areas are and the strutting zones are, because early in turkey season, those times are going to be really visual. They're going to be looking for hens. And so, you know, until they get henned up, and we'll talk about that in another segment, you know, you need to be in an area where you can see. You know, understand where the roosting areas are. It's always been my understanding, and from the old timers that I listen to, you know, turkeys like to roost in areas that, you know, sometimes are near water, where they have the protection of the water on one of their flanks, and also typically like on side of ridge lines. A turkey does not like to be silhouetted when he's on the roost. Okay, so you know, if he's got the skyline to his back, you know, he's easy pickings. So if you have a ridge line, I've typically learned that most turkeys like to roost halfway up that ridge line. So those are just some pointers. Stay tuned. We'll get into some more here in just a moment. Hey folks, this is Matt Kirksey again with Kirkinator Outdoors, and this is the part 2 that I was talking about in part 1. So, you know, calling. There's different calls out there that you can use. You need to get with a call or two that you're most comfortable with. Sometimes, you know, the looks of the call may grab your attention, and that's fine. There's fancy calls out there. You know, you've got pot calls, you got slates, you got, you know, box calls, you got mouth calls, you got the little putt calls. I call them a putt and purr call. That's the little box with the stick in it. There's several calls out there. The old timers used to use an old wing bone for a call. That's what my father-in-law still uses. So there's a lot of calls out there that work. You know, I personally like you know, a box call because of the range and the pitch. I like a mouth call. I like this pot call here. You know, it's called a Twisted Sister, and it has a great sound to it. In fact, I got this one as a Christmas present this year from a customer, and I'm gonna just give you a quick little demonstration of it. It comes with 2 strikers, so. So I'm no expert turkey caller, as you can tell, and there's, you know, you just need to sit down and play with it for what does good for you. Practice makes perfect. I will say this about turkey calling. When you're in the woods, don't overcall, okay? Especially whenever you're in a position maybe where you're right up on the roost, all right? Turkeys have a built-in GPS in their head. They will pinpoint you immediately. So if you get a response from a turkey and he gobbles, back off. Don't overcall. He knows where you are. If he cuts you off on a call, get your call down. He's coming 9 times out of 10. But what I like to do in the morning is not go in the woods and just start calling. If you roost a bird, there's no reason to blow on an owl call before you get in the woods or before you get set up in your spot. Just sit down and listen. If you're in their bedroom, you're going to be in their neighborhood. You can call them in. One thing I will say though, a lot of times whenever a gobbler puts a turkey to bed, some hens to bed, he's not gonna fly up, in the same tree as the hens most of the time. I'm not saying all the time, I'm saying most of the time, because turkeys will do some stupid things. But a gobbler will be in the vicinity where he can keep eyes on those hens. He will wait for those hens to pitch before he flies down. And a lot of times I've seen it where the hens will come to that gobbler. So if you got a bird roosted and you can see that gobbler, be patient. You don't want to bump him going in, and you still need to use cover at night when you're moving into the wood line and getting set up. But try to position yourself between the hens and the gobbler as close as you can without getting caught. So just keep in mind that turkey's got great eyesight even in the dark. And they can hear too. So just remember, calling is okay. Do not overcall. Make sure especially if you're getting a response. If you get a response, play hard to get. Back off and let that bird work its way to you. If you don't kill a bird off the roost, don't get discouraged. If you need to move, go move. But sometimes if you're in those travel corridors, sometimes it does pay dividends just to stay put. If you're in a good pinch point and you're in a travel zone, just wait the birds out. If you do get impatient and you want to do some running and gunning, get your binoculars, go do some glassing, but just move and listen, okay? And sometimes in the mid parts of the day, a gobbler ain't gonna gobble because a lot of times he's gonna have hens with him. So that's when you need to get out and do some scanning and some research. Stay low to the ground, have good cover, peek over ridges. Don't just bust up over it, because the minute he sees you, he's out of there. So again, patience is the virtue when it comes to turkey hunting, especially when they fly down off the roost. So again, don't get discouraged just because you don't kill that bird off the roost. There's plenty of morning left. Anyway, again, no overcalling. Stay tuned for more information from Kirkinator Outdoors. Hey folks, this is Kirkinator Outdoors again, and this is part 3 of my little turkey tutorial. I want to talk to you about the different opportunities for turkey hunting, and where you can hunt, and things that I would recommend if you're trying to get into turkey hunting. So one of the things that I did early on was I tried to get with a real good outfitter, okay? Good turkey hunting outfitter, compared to deer hunting, you're probably looking at, probably 2/3 the cost. It depends on where you go. There's a lot of outfitters out there that take pride in their turkey hunting, and capability, so their rates may be a little higher. But normally, I've seen anywhere from, a 3-day turkey hunt, costing anywhere from, say, $400 a day to, $800 a day, depending on what type of guide services that are out there. I do recommend that you do a 3-day turkey hunt if you're going to get with an outfitter. Each one of these outfitters I've hunted with over the years have different ways of doing things. I still love to run and gun and go get the turkey, in the woods, on foot, moving around. There are some turkey outfitters that like to just sit you in a blind and hunt pinch points. So for the older guys that are trying to get in, who don't want to run and gun so much, it's almost like deer hunting a turkey. There's a couple places in Kentucky I know that are like that, and then there's several places down in Florida on the Osceolas that do that, where they like to sit pinch points, travel corridors, feeding zones, strutting areas. They'll have those blinds real close to feeding areas and roost locations, and most of the time when you're on that stand early in the morning, you're going to hear the birds gobble, hunting over decoys and trying to pull the bird in when he pitches out in that field. So there's different outfitters that do different things. There's always the public land option, and then also getting in a club. If you do get in a club, just make sure that when you get in some of these clubs, like if you're in a club with 1,500 acres and you got 3 or 4 turkey hunters, y'all gonna be fighting for position. Okay, so some clubs don't allow turkey hunting. They only have a select few members that are allowed to do it, and they may be charter members. Some clubs don't have any turkey hunters, and they will just sublease the turkey rights. So there's different ways of doing it. I personally like getting with the outfitters because I like seeing new properties. I like learning different ways of doing it. And so there are a lot of outfitters out there: Missouri, Kentucky, Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi, down in Florida for the Osceola, Texas for the Rios and North Texas, Nebraska for the Merriams. So, if you get into turkey hunting and you love it like I do, the slam is always something you're after. I'm still working on the slam because I just have a passion for the eastern turkey. They're tough to kill, takes a lot of talent, a lot of skill. Those eastern birds can be tough. The northern Missouri eastern turkey is one of the biggest birds out there that I love to kill. They are like thunder chickens. So just pick and choose, how far you want to drive or fly. But there are a lot of good outfitters. Do your homework on that, and make sure you get with a outfitter that has a good guide service. Some of them will semi-guide, where they put you on the piece of property and say, hey, this is yours, go get them. The only problem with that is you don't know where those birds are roosting. So I like to go roost a bird the night before, if at all possible. And in the Midwest, it's a lot of fun because you can grab an old 6-pack and drive around in the truck, get out, walk the edges of fields and glass 1,000 yards and watch birds go to bed. Next morning, where you're going. A lot of those states also make you get out of the woods at noon or 1 o'clock too, so you're not ambushing those birds going back to the roost. So again, I would highly advise you to go find you a good outfitter and learn from those guys who are doing it. I was fortunate that I was able to do this several years with some good turkey outfitters and a good turkey guide, one of which is Mr. Don Ship. Don Ship is amazing. He was a National Wildlife Turkey Federation call champion. He's well connected in the hunting industry. So anyway, I highly advise you to go get with an outfitter and go on a turkey hunt next turkey season. Stay tuned for the next adventure of Kirkinator Outdoors. Hey folks, this is Matt Kirksey again with another part 4 of our turkey tutorial today on Kirkinator Outdoors, and I want to talk to you about your firearm. So there's a lot of different firearms out there, that's available for turkey hunting. As the years have gone on, I started out with a 12 gauge Remington 870 Express. I love that gun, still hunt with it. Can't kill it. It is a thumper, with a 3-inch or 3.5-inch Magnum. That shotgun lets me know I've shot it every time, and I love it. It's on. I could take it out tomorrow and kill 100 turkeys. The best one of the best shotguns I think that's available is the Beretta A400 in 20 gauge, and that's what I wanted to talk to you about. Now, even some of the guys are moving to 410s these days with tungsten, but with tungsten it has revolutionized turkey shot and range and power. So again, the Beretta A400 is in 20 gauge, is probably, I would say, the best turkey shotgun that is available right now. A Beretta A400 with tungsten will kill a turkey at 60 yards, dead as a hammer. It is with a lot of power. It doesn't have the kick that the 12 gauge has got, and the older you get, the more you don't want that kick. So for you young bucks, for precision, I would recommend the 20 gauge in a shotgun like a Beretta A400. There's some other models out there that are good. I just happen to like that Beretta A400. The Beretta A300 is still good too. You can still find those in stores, and there's a lot of rebates on the Beretta A300 right now. But I would highly advise you to look at the 20 gauge in a 28-inch barrel. They sell it in the 26 also, but the reason I say 28-inch barrel is because you can use it to also sport and clay shoot with if you wanted to. But the Beretta A400 in 20 gauge with tungsten. Make sure you got a tungsten choke on that. But that will kill a turkey at 60 yards. And who's counting? 60, 62, 59, whatever. But that extra range could be all the difference in you bagging the turkey of a lifetime. Stay tuned for more. This is Kirkinator Outdoors. Hey folks, this is Matt Kirks again with Kirkinator Outdoors, and I'm concluding the little turkey tutorial. There's a lot of things I covered there, and I could go all day on a lot of those topics. A lot of those things is what's worked for me, but I would advise you to go out and find out what works for you. Just remember that the outdoors are special, and you need to share it with your loved ones, with your friends, and always remember that man has made a lot of things, but like Jeff Foxworthy said, it don't compare to nothing like what God made. And so, when you're out there, use it to clear your conscience. Use it to think about how you can treat others and do well with others, and what your next day is going to look like. And thank God for everything that He's given you. I hope that this has helped you out today, and I hope you really enjoyed the next episode of Kirkinator Outdoors as much as you enjoy turkey hunting. Stay tuned for more opportunities with Kirkinator Outdoors, and I feel blessed that I'm able to bring it to you. Thank you. Stay tuned.